Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Royal Instinct. Today we're going to be watching we're doing a reaction video to the Red Pill Way, a song that Abbott and Preach have released to attack Myron Gaines from Fresh and Fit. We're also going to be diving into brain rot, birth rates, and the end of Renaissance. Okay, while we are moving towards idiocracy, we are moving towards a time where people will give up their brains to AI and allow the elites to control their lives. Okay, but we're starting off with this Red Pill Way. I've already seen the video, so this isn't my first reaction. We're doing a little bit different, right? I already think the fucking video is funny. I think the song is funny. When I first watched it, it's hilarious. Okay, and we talk about why it is so funny. But we're going to do a little dive about why the jokes used to attack Myron are actually detrimental to men as a whole, right? Okay, and we'll be diving into that a little bit later. Yeah, I mean, it's a funny song, but these are interesting times that we live in. We live in a time where people have lost all meaning, and people are turning towards internet gurus, their favorite influencer to tell them what to do, how to think, how to live. The dating market is fucked, okay? And because the dating market is so fucked, things like the manosphere, things like the red pill, pickup artistry, looks maxing are all a reaction to the state of events, right? Pickup artistry started really in the I think early 90s. It started to emerge and then really gained traction during the early 2000s. And then once the 2010s came, after the great financial crash of 08, and the increase in technologies such as the iPhone, smartphones, Instagram, Facebook, and a dwindling economy, you started to see the big disparages in wealth, and that resulted a discrepancy in the dating market. Okay, now Ab and Preach, they have beef with Myron. I believe they used to be friends, or they went on each other's podcasts, and then Myron felt slighted somehow by Ab and Preach, and then decided to go out full attack, and really went into Preach, I believe, and insulted him and his girlfriend, insulted Abba as well, and that's where the beef kind of stemmed from. Now, Abba and Preach are not part of the manosphere, if you say. However, Fresh and Fit are, and they really believe in the red pill. They really believe in that ideology. And that is the stance that they take. And it is an easy stance for Abbott and Preach to attack, because it is a movement for men's rights, right? And if you do anything for men's rights, it's the easiest way to discredit a person from the manosphere, a red pillar, is to call them gay, because they are advocates for their own masculinity. They're trying to get dominion, or power over women, because they want to bring back the balance of power within dating towards themselves. And to become like a so-called alpha male, you have to surround yourself with like-minded people, with other men. And when you're surrounded by other men, it's easy to say, oh well, you guys are just a bunch of gay homos. And that is the easiest attack. However, what are men supposed to do then at that stage, right? Are they supposed to, okay, right, I'm just going to stand by myself then, I have no male friends just in case somebody calls me gay? Okay, but let's jump into the video. It is very funny, but we try to dissect it, what the real repercussions are of this.
banger coming on, the best song ever. You gotta play it right now. I want everybody to the dance floor. No women, no women, no women.
That is my favorite bit of the fucking video. Like when Myron is on the boat and he's screaming "No women." I understand what he's trying to do, right? Because he is a I believe this event was something that they hosted themselves. They were on a boat, you know, and they had other women and models that they had invited onto the boat, and then men paid to kind of hang out with Fresh and Fit, talk red pill shit, I guess. And you know, you can see it like by Myron's face there. You know, he's smashed, right? He's had a few drinks. He's a bit wavy at this point, and a song comes on that he really likes. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to be like, he's kind of trying to empower men at this stage, right? Because he's like, right, this song's great. Let's get all the boys on the dance floor, right? No women. Let's make this a man-only space, right? Which I understand, because, you know, women have their girls' nights out. Women have their, you know, women's spaces. But when a man does it, it's already turned into a gay joke, okay? Which is what this whole video is about. But the the actual video clip that they use is so on point, right? Because you can already hear the beat of the other song playing in, right? And then this little audio clip of him, right? Oh, it's a banger. This is a bang of a fucking tune, right? Right? Everyone on the dance floor, no women. And then the way it just slow-mos, it just like cracks me up every single time. Like, I'm gonna play it again, but just watch his face. It is just so jokes.
Guys, yo, we got a banger coming on, the best song ever. You gotta play it right now. I want everybody to the dance floor. No women.
What kills me is like the hand movement as well. Like, everybody to the dance floor. No women. No women. Every time I watch that, I just have to fucking laugh, man. Like, you know what I mean? But the thing is, like, I understand what he's trying to do, right? But it's just the way that they cut it with the music coming on. It just makes him look like such a clown, right? And the thing is, like, I think Myron has done a response to this song, and like it's like a proper like hip hop diss track. Like, you think he tried to do like a Nas Ether type vibe, but this is like a smooth R&B song. It's like, you know, you can just like it's a banger, this song, right? His tune is like, I can listen to it for a bit. I have to listen to it again, but see what the lyrics are. But he's going out for an all-out attack, right? For him, this is like war. But like Abba Preachers came at this with just like, this is a joke, okay? This is like, we're making fun of ourselves, we're making fun of you, we're making fun of the red pill thing. It like, out of the battle, Abba Preach will win because they don't take it as serious as Myron is, right? But Myron should have just accepted the L. He should have just laughed it off and moved on, right? He shouldn't have come out with trying to out funny. I think they're professional comedians as well, right? Abba Preach. So yeah, like, I think he went down the wrong route, man. You can't, like, when someone attacks you like this, right, and they make fun of you and they're calling you gay or whatever, you just have to laugh it off, right? You have to laugh it off. You have to show a sense of humor, show some humility, and just move on, right? And then, you know, whatever your stance is in life, right, you have to be righteous and believe in it and stand for what you believe in. But like, when someone's coming at you with like comedy like this, you know, the best thing to do is just to take the L, smile, move on, be like, all right, okay, I get the joke, and then keep it moving on to the next thing. And then people will be like, well, you know, they took the piss out of him, they made a joke at him, you know, he took the L and moved on. Like, people won't hold it against him. But if you start, you know, coming, kicking and screaming, right, like you've got some fragile ego, then it becomes even funnier, right?
Oh, so you got a girl now, you change, make self-improvement, takes all day, spend time with your girl.
The choreography is on point as well, man. Like, it's so jokes.
That's gay, spend time with your boys, the RedPill way. No, I don't want women, no. No, I don't want no woman. want your cuddles, no. I'd rather sleep with the boys. No, I don't wanna meet girls, no. I don't want no women. Boys is the ones that get love from me. Spending time with my...
Yeah, and you can tell, like, you know, Ab and Preach, they just don't take themselves that serious. You know, it's just a joke to them. I mean, the whole video, right? Like, they're acting gay, right? They're acting gay, they're acting camp. But it's funny, right? It's just they're just taking the piss. They're just having fun with it, right? And you know, it's the majority of the guys are male in the video. There's like, I think, 1 or 2 women there sprinkled in. They're doing exactly the same thing that they're taking the mick out of, you know, that they're accusing of Myron of doing, right? But the funny thing is, like, if you say the same shit to Ab and Preach, they won't react. They'll laugh it off. They're like, yeah, okay, like, do you know what I mean? They'll just turn it into a sarcastic joke. The thing is that if Myron does it, it will irritate him. He's like, you know what I mean? No allegations against me, right? And that's why it's funny. So, you know, when someone comes at you and attacks you and your character by making a mockery of you, sometimes you just gotta laugh at yourself, right? And then just keep it moving.
Was behind, rubbing on their thighs. That's the RedPill way. No, just no.
Diddy will.
Boys is the ones that get love from me. Spending time with my boys behind, rubbing on their thighs. That's the RedPill way.
And it's a banger as well. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, if you listen to it a couple of times, like, you know, the lyrics will start sticking in your head, right? It's a good shoot. I don't know how they wrote it. I assume they probably used AI. But if they done it like, if this is like an original track that they came up with, like hats off to them, man, because it's fucking jokes.
If you feel at home with your mom, oh yes, bro, I'm talking to you.
And the guys got some moves as well, right? They like legit, like, it looks like fun to make. It looks like a fun tune to dance to.
You're broken, hate these women. That's the RedPill.
And here, like, they're sword fighting, like, you know, like Dungeons and Dragons, like Star Wars shit. Like an incel in a basement dweller, which is like, the joke is like a lot of RedPill people, a lot of people who are in the manosphere, that you know, they have legit issues and concerns, right? Like the dating market is skewed. They aren't finding women to date, you know, and then they're turning into, you know, hobbies or other, you know, forms of escapism, whether that's Star Wars, whether that's Dungeons and Dragons, whether that's video games, whether that's you know, porn. All these things are symptoms of the underlying cause. And look, I get it that they've got beef with Myron, so they're going to attack him however they want. But, you know, like, one of the lyrics of the song is like, men's self-improvement takes all day, right? Like, you know, they're trying to make self-improvement embarrassing, okay? Whereas, like, if you're in a position where, you know, you are out of shape and you need to hit the gym, you know, self-improvement can be that gateway for you to bettering your life, okay? And if you then start attacking that, a lot of the people that need it will feel kind of embarrassed about it. Like, they're almost trying to turn it into a joke where people are embarrassed of it. So I don't think they, you know, look, they're a comedy channel, they're comedians, they don't really care how it affects other people. But I'm just saying, it's like, you know, you're really discrediting a lot of people who kind of need that help. And the thing is, like, the problem within society at the moment, the dating market or whatever, that those problems are real. Okay, there's statistics to back it up. However, you know, and then people who are confused, people who are, you know, lonely, isolated, who don't have anyone else to turn to, they look for solutions. And in today's society, we look online for our solutions. And then when someone like Myron comes, who talks with authority, you end up being, you know, coming around to their way of thinking. Okay, and I'm not saying Myron is 100% correct. There's a lot of things that he does that is, you know, where he gets it totally wrong, but he's also gets a few things right. Okay, and that is, like, you know, that is part of growth. It's like, you know, you listen to this person for a while, you take on what they advise, you know, you test down to the real world, see how it works, and then you then you find new advice and you test it out, you see what works, what doesn't work for you, and you come to your own conclusions. And it's like, and the thing is, the people offering solutions are so rare about this topic, and especially solutions that work. My own solutions work. There, some of them are extreme, some of them are redundant. Because it's all about money, right? If you've got enough money, then your dating life will be taken care of. You don't have to turn into misogynists to to win at dating, to have a dating life. In fact, like, some of the wealthiest people have no idea what the red pill is, and they're just able to get dates because women find them attractive because they are economically resourceful.
I'm talking to you, baby. If you're ready to find your virgin, wanna buy a cash with no expertise, no women, no wife, no pussy, no love, no love,
Letting all the boys in. No wife, no pussy, no love. Like, the reason people get into the red pill is because they're trying to find like a girlfriend, a partner, pussy, right? Like, that is the reason people even go into it. If you even spend time with people who, not the leaders of the red pill, right? If you spend time with people who are interested in learning these things, right? Like, they come from a real good place, but they're just like broken people. They've been hurt. They're looking for solutions, right? Like, they're doing, according to them, what society has told them, they're doing all the correct things. It's just they're not getting the results. They're not finding the women to date. And if you met some of them, if you listen to some of the stories, you would understand where they're coming from. But society just makes a big joke out of it, because men are in competition with each other. You always have to remember that, right? So if more men are losing, that's actually a good thing, because if you win, you get all the rewards. Okay, that is what society is built like. And especially the way the elites are structuring society right now. And that is why here on Royal Instinct, we are leaving the system behind, and we are building a new system and building our own kingdom. These guys are good dancers, though. That's the red pill way. No, I don't want no women, no wife, no wife, no pussy, no. Yeah, Abba can dance, man. I'm gonna stop it there. It's just the same shit after that. But they're really attacking him. But I think, to attack Myron himself, that is between those two to work out. But then to call the whole Red Pill movement gay, I don't think is helpful, because these people are seeking real answers to real solutions. And if you're someone who is in the Red Pill sphere and you're looking for real solutions, I'm just like, don't play the game. Right, don't play the game. Don't be part of that system. Build your own system, and that is what we're doing here. That is what I'm doing. I'm looking for like-minded people who understand what I'm doing, what I'm saying, and we are finding our own solutions. We are finding new ways to leave the system. You can buy a private island just for a couple $1 million, right? And what we are doing is we're building kingdoms. We're establishing our own lands. We are building new systems. We are buying islands and living like kings, because we are the kingdom builders. And then we are building alongside each other a alliance of kings, standing side by side, taking over land, taking over territory, and we'll be leaders, and we'll set our own rules for our own lives. Okay, but let's jump into this other video that I want to show you about brain rot.
a lab in Munich did something that I've been wanting to see. They gave 60 people a cognitive test, then sent them away for a 10-minute break, and then tested them again. Now, the difference was the break. Some people just sat there, some scrolled on Twitter, some watched a normal YouTube video, and some went on TikTok. So whose brain changed during that time? This is one of the few experiments that I've been able to dig up that has actually tested the idea of brain rot. But the science is starting to catch up to the fact that short-form video feeds are...
I mean, this isn't something that you need to do a scientific study on, right? Like, I remember, like, you know, I grew up in the 90s, and you know, just watching cartoons, right, on TV. You know, your parents were already like, my parents were nagging me, saying like, you know, it's going to fuck your brain up. You know, it fucks your attention up. You know, those things were already known and understood in the 90s. That watching too much TV, too much cartoon fucks up with your attention, right? And it's just been, you know, smartphones and TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. These have just taken those principles, that those things that we knew back in the 90s, and put them on steroids. And you're seeing the real effects of people now. It's like even Netflix, when they make TV shows, they have to make them for a audience that they know will be sitting there in front of the TV watching Netflix while they're scrolling on the smartphone. So they're literally like this, watching TV, back on the phone, watching TV. So the stories have to be made into little snippets, so it's easier to follow while you're scrolling on your phone. Okay. I guarantee you, like, if you're watching this video, you're probably scrolling on your phone as well. You've got multiple tabs open, right? So we all kind of get sucked into this, like, information overload via stimulation. And you don't have to run a scientific study about this. Like, it's not going to shock anyone if the results are, oh yeah, it does cause brain rot, all these fucking algorithms and social media and what have you, right? Like, it's not going to be shocking to anyone. We already all fucking know this.
Everywhere, and almost all of the commentary says that they're making us dumber.
I cannot physically bring myself to study.
I'm addicted too.
It's true, man. Like, it's getting harder and harder, right? Just to sit down, to write something, to read something, to redigest it, and to think about it. It's like, you know, people have lost that ability to really focus, and you know, people are more and more reliant on AI, ChatGPT. You know, they're asking questions. I think there's like a subreddit called the Claude Boys. So they're asking Claude AI to kind of like run every decision for them. So every decision that they have, they ask Claude what to do. So as soon as they wake up, they go, "Hi Claude, just woke up. What do I do?" And then Claude will tell them what to do. And they literally are just being controlled by the AI to execute their life. That is not a way to live, right? You have to become somebody who is in their zone of genius. You have to think for yourself, right? Because your brain is the only thing that you have control over, if you know how to direct your focus. Okay. And that is the point that I want to make. That is where I want you to go. I want you to be able to control your brain and direct your focus so that you can become a genius, so that you can become somebody who becomes a subject matter expert, rise to the top, become a leader, become somebody who is known. And when you are the leader, people will defer to you, and then you'll be treated like a king. And if you're a king, you should have a kingdom. And that is what I want you to build.
All addicted to this. Oh no. It's horrible for you.
Oh, and we're giving kids just the attention span of a walnut.
This is awkward because we make shorts, and it has introduced us to a bunch of new viewers. If brain rot is real, then we might be part of the problem.
I do have a lot of skepticism whenever there's a claim that, like, some new thing is fundamentally changing the way that humans operate.
Yeah. Apparently Socrates thought that writing was going to ruin our minds. And, you know, people worried about novels being addictive and the telegraph and all of that. Like, on Howtown, we don't just take the conventional wisdom.
We're not running on vibes over here. We're trying to see if there's anything behind the vibes.
So I went hunting for evidence. We've heard about shrinking attention spans since the start of the smartphone era, but how can we measure those? And what are the studies saying about the video feeds specifically?
You know, when you're saying, what you were saying there is like, you know, Socrates was worried about writing. The thing is, like, writing helps you clear out your thoughts. It's an activity that you're doing still. the fact that you have to think and write, okay, and then be able to express whatever the thing is that you're writing about. If you're sending a telegram, it's still, you have to compose communication, right? If you're sending an email, right, even though you're using it via the internet, right, to compose an email on your computer, you still have to actively think about what you're writing out, the message that you're drafting, what you're communicating. So there's still thinking involved. The thing with TikTok is it's just scrolling, right? And then you're just watching something and then you watch the next thing. There's no thinking involved. It's just mindless consumption, right? And I think in China, what they've done is they changed the TikTok algorithm to not have brain rot content. So the content that you were was visible to children is educational stuff, things about science. So it's not the technology itself that is rotting the brain, it's the content being produced on those platforms, okay? Because in China, they figured out how to use it to their advantage, where children are mindlessly consuming scientific facts, right? So things that will help them in their education and inspire them to be smarter, more educated, inspire them to be scientists, rocket scientists, and engineers, for example. Whereas, like, in the West, in the UK, in the Western economies in America, people aspire to be brain rot content creators, right? Like, there's a reason why people like iShowSpeed is one of the biggest streamers in the world, is because his content is easy to consume. There's not much thinking behind it. It's just like you're just watching his reactions to things, and then you're reacting to his reaction. There's no thought behind it, okay? So it's not the technology itself. It's just because there's no thinking involved in consuming it. For example, if you had to watch a piece of content, wherever it was, and then you had to write an essay, it will change the whole different, like a whole different way of consuming the content, and it will include the fact that you're thinking about it. So it makes it worthwhile, at least, I guess.
After 10 minutes of swiping through shorts, do people really think any worse? First, I wanted to know what makes this new format different from the hours of television that people watch every day. And you can hear it in how the companies talk about their own product. See, last year, a bunch of private conversations between TikTok employees came to light after 14 U.S. states investigated and sued the company.
This is multiple lawsuits coming from individual states' attorney general, and the action alleges that TikTok exploits and harms young users.
The state attorneys had agreed to black out the confidential materials.
And I found the breadth of these redactions odd.
That's a local reporter named Sylvia Goodman. She discovered that the redactions in the Kentucky complaint had not been done correctly.
I copy and pasted it all out into a fresh document, and I could read all of those redactions. I'll be honest, my jaw was on the floor reading some of this.
The document showed TikTok employees openly grappling with the potential harm of the bold glamour filter.
Bold glamour filter. This is without the filter.
They admitted that those screen time reminders were a good talking point, but not altogether effective.
Yeah, I mean, these companies are incentivized to keep you on the platform, on the app. So, even if they put filters in place to make you take a break after 10 minutes, there's like, skip for now, right? So there's always a workaround, and your brain is going to keep going after what it is craving, okay? And this is the place where we're going to end up, and people are getting dumber, attention spans are getting shorter, people are accepting what they consume as facts. Even if you go on Twitter, right, or X, and then you're scrolling down, like sometimes that there'll be some sort of video or a picture or something, and then you just have to do a double take, like, is this AI or not? And then you have to click on the thing, scroll down, and then just get Grok to verify whether this is an AI image or not, right? Or even like some stupid story that someone puts down, and then get AI to verify. Like, I saw a story today about Dan Bilzerian being in the Epstein files, and I was like, that sounds ridiculous, but also possible, right? So then I had to go down into the comments where someone asked Grok, and then Grok said, no, there's no evidence of this. But it's literally someone just throwing out a random thing, and you don't even, like, even me, right, who I'm very skeptical, right, that you have to now do a double take in essence, right? Like, so you can't even trust what these algorithms, what these platforms are feeding you, because half the time it's AI slop, half the time it's people just outright lying, and because you're getting AI to verify it, like, what if AI is programmed to tell you not the truth? And now right, even then, right, this is an example of me accepting AI's answer. Like, you don't know, man. Like, you need to start thinking for yourself. You need to stop the brain rot, in essence, right? And then, okay, we're gonna watch another video about this guy who believes that 2030s will be a renaissance, and he's going to draw parallels to medieval times. But I think this guy is wrong. Our brains are going to be too fucked, especially the next generation. Gen Z are going to be too fucked. So the 2030s won't be a renaissance globally. The only renaissance that there will be is within the Royal Instinct community. Okay, we will be having our own kingdom where a renaissance can take place, because we are leaving the current system and we are leaving the problems of brain rot behind.
The moment, so I'm here to give you some hope. In my last video, I talked about how we're going through a contracted version of the Middle Ages currently, but don't forget that a lot of good stuff happened during the Middle Ages. Also, I think the 2030s have the potential for a true renaissance, and the historical parallels to the last renaissance are already all around.
The only way a renaissance can take place, a renaissance, is if people actually come out and say enough is enough. We're not going to consume these platforms anymore, and there is an actual demand for legitimate quality content. Okay, that content that is uplifting, content that is can help you improve your life. But I don't have faith in the system. I've seen these things said so many times. Each year it seems like the problems in the world are getting worse and worse, which is why I'm leaving this current system, and I'm looking for like-minded people to leave with me, to build something new, to establish a kingdom full of kings, where we are building side by side, where we are have each other's back, built on true friendship. We'll be we call each other the Amicis, which is Italian for friends, and it will be a glorious period of the human race.
Around us. You've probably heard it said before, and most of you are old enough to remember, that the internet used to be a place. It existed on the big box computer on your dad's desk, and you'd log on for an hour to play flash games after school. Now the internet is literally everywhere, and sometimes it feels like we live more of a digital life than a real physical one. What we need to do with the internet...
Yeah, and that is what the elites want. They want you plugged into the system, into the metaverse, so that they know your location, they know what you're doing, what you're consuming. They want you to be fully surveilled, under surveillance at all times, so they can control you, program you, and steal from you and your back pocket. Okay, you need to wake up. You need to leave the system. You need to find out what you truly want in life, what your special skills are, and you need to become a subject matter expert in your field. Enter your zone of genius, because that is what the world needs right now. The world needs leaders, and this is the bat signal for you to receive it. If you want to fight that good fight, if you want to start something new, if you want to save humanity, the decision is yours, right? The world needs leaders, and the leaders that will solve the problems of the future will be the next generation's heroes.
Internet is bring back the Renaissance concept of the studiolo. What's a studiolo, you ask? Why, it's the answer to all of our problems. In Renaissance Europe, it was common for the wealthy to build a specific room called a studiolo, which means little study. It was a tiny enclosed space filled with books and scientific instruments and art. The most famous...
The problem is that no one reads books anymore, right? No one reads books. So even if you have a studio, you're going to be too busy doom scrolling on your phone.
One is probably the studiolo of Francesco I de' Medici, Grand Duke of Tuscany. Francesco retreated into this little hiding place to tinker with alchemy and look over his collection.
Yes, because he didn't have access to the internet back then. He didn't have access to 24/7 gaming. He didn't have access to 24-hour porn. Like, if he had all those things back then, there wouldn't have been a renaissance.
Of rare objects. The walls and ceiling were decorated with these insane paintings mixing real life and mythology. In the center was a fresco of Prometheus receiving jewels from nature, commenting on the interplay of the divine, nature, and humanity, the ultimate goal of both artistic and scientific pursuit. The Studiolo is the summation of everything we need to stop our current cultural decline, to fix our attention spans and fight back against the endless stream of algorithmic slop. You went into the Studiolo to connect with universal knowledge, and then once you were done reading and thinking and looking at maps, you left. You got on with your life. You didn't carry the Studiolo around with you all day in your pocket. There was a high premium put on knowledge, but that knowledge was physically contained.
We live in a time where there is no more premium knowledge because you have access to all the knowledge that you would want. The premium comes into interpreting it and then being able to make money using your knowledge, right? Like, that is the point of we are in the human race, in human history, right? Like you have so much knowledge on your phone, right, that you can ask it anything, it will give you an answer. But your ability to interpret it and use it for something functional, that is the disconnect in society that we find ourselves. And if you aren't able to, produce and create something with everything that you consume, or the knowledge or the media that you consume, then society won't reward you for it, and you will be worse off because of it.
With so much AI garbage being circulated online, and we're going to talk more about that in a moment, I think we'll see a cultural reevaluation of the internet in the next decade or so. If everything goes according to my plans, the status symbol of the 2030s won't be the newest iPhone, it'll be the absence of a smartphone altogether.
That's not possible. The world is becoming more and more connected via the internet. In essence, we don't live on Earth anymore. We live on the internet. We communicate on the internet. We are globally connected, which is why I'm able to broadcast this across the globe and find like-minded people who will be a good fit with me, who understand what I'm doing, who want to do the same things as me, and build a new society and a new kingdom. Okay, this guy, his whole channel is based on what the medievals did, and he is drawing parallels to today's society. However, he is off the mark, and his ideas will fail.
In a way, this is already happening. Take the digital minimalism movement, for example. Just judging from what I see on YouTube.
Yeah, people do digital minimalism, and then for a month or two give themselves a break, and then they return back to consuming all that shit. Like, unless you unplug and start living in the woods in the cabin, which I don't want to do either. Do you know what I mean? I think we're at a point where technology is good enough, right? And if there was no more technological advancements from here on outwards, I'll be happy with that. Okay, but that is not what science is doing. That is not what the elites are doing. They want a transhumanist life. They want a life governed by AI, where AI is their god, and I do not subscribe to that. I want to create something by myself where I am the leader, where I'm in total control, and I get the freedom to live life how I see fit.
The new trend is to be chronically offline. There's the whole dumb phone thing where Gen Z is getting rid of their Androids and iPhones and switching back.
Who's doing that? Who's doing that? Have you met a person like this? It's a cute idea, but it won't actually transpire in reality.
Back to flip phones and MP3 players. Physical bookstores like Barnes & Noble are flourishing again because people are desperate to hold something real in their hands and be entertained without a screen. Just like the great minds of the Renaissance, the youth are sick of being told what to think and having truth filtered by some outside authority. The rallying cry of the Renaissance was ad fontes, meaning to the sources. Scholars at the time believed medieval commentaries had obscured the pure truth of classical texts. They wanted to strip away what they saw as the clutter of the Middle Ages and get back to reading their classical forefathers directly. Petrarch even wrote a letter to Cicero in 1345, despite the fact that by that point Cicero had been dead for 1300 years. In the letter, Petrarch wrote to his Roman hero as if he was still alive, and he expressed this deep emotional need for real connection over the dusty commentaries of his time. That already sounds quite relatable to our present moment. One thing I see younger people on the internet being fed up with is reaction content, which is basically the modern version of what Petrarch was talking about. Nobody wants to watch a guy watching a video of another guy doing something crazy. Enough
Is he talking about me?
Your dad's desk of theology and philosophy called scholasticism. It was a hyperlogical method of learning that focused on resolving contradictions and defining categories. Scholasticism has gotten a bad rap historically because it was known for being pretty rigid and dogmatic, but also Thomas Aquinas, one of the greatest geniuses of all time, was a scholastic thinker, so take the historical reputation with a grain of salt. By the late 1400s, scholasticism had become exhausted. It was obsessed with abstract trivia, like the infamous how many angels can dance on the head of a pin question, and the younger generation saw it as technical and dry and formulaic. Basically, just like AI, scholasticism was processing data without necessarily feeling emotion or considering real human nuance.
What he's basically saying is people get fed up of just consuming, because if you're just consuming all the time, think about it, right? Things are coming in, it is depressing you, right? Things become so heavy in your head, all the information that you are consuming weighs you down, so you become depressed. Okay, how do you become undepressed? How do you become how do you get out of depression? How do you get out of social anxiety? How do you confront your fears? The best thing to do is do the opposite of depression, which is to express yourself, right? And to create your own content, create your own art, you know, allow your creativity to guide you and move you forward. Okay, and do that in something that you find purposeful and meaningful to you, whatever that may be. Move forward and find your zone of genius, become a genius in whatever is your passion in life, and, you know, use that to build your kingdom, become somebody who's a subject matter expert, so you are seen as a leader and crown yourself the king of your own field.
It was this intellectual closed loop of books talking to other books. Large language models like ChatGPT are the same way. They can't come up with anything truly new, they can only regurgitate what they've been fed and predict the next logical token based on this massive data set. Let's keep going with AI here, because I think we all sense that it will be the single biggest driver of change in the next 10 years, and it's already causing a massive real-time paradigm shift all around us. When COVID hit, I saw people comparing it to the Black Death in Europe, but in my opinion, AI is actually going to be the closest thing to the plague that we have, at least until the next actual plague comes along. Let me explain what I mean. Before the Black Death, peasants are abundant, they're cheap. They're treated like interchangeable cogs in the feudal machine. Suddenly, almost overnight, 50% of the workforce is wiped out by this invisible pestilence that nobody truly understands. Human labor is now scarce. You can't just replace a plowman. This scarcity forced the nobility to treat labor with respect and pay real wages. However, that didn't happen immediately. The rich fought tooth and nail to make sure peasants stayed in their place, with kings like Edward III even introducing new laws to make sure that workers could only be paid what they had been paid before the Black Death. But it was too late. The peasants realized they had more power, and they understood basic supply and demand. This was the beginning of the end for feudalism, at least in Western Europe. Over the last few decades, we've treated human beings like cogs to do silly, repetitive tasks in a depressing office somewhere with fluorescent lighting and open floor plans.
But that is not what the elites want. What the elites want is they want to get rid of the peasants, right? They want to get rid of the serfs. They want to get rid of the normal people in society. And what they want to replace them with is, this time, with AI robots. Okay, and then there won't be a supply and demand issue, because the supply of labor being able to be done by robots will be there. And in the next couple of decades, the technology should be so advanced that they can make their twisted dream a reality.
I can personally attest to this as I've worked quite a few of those jobs. All of a sudden, AI arrives and floods the market with infinite free text and art and video. It can also fill out a spreadsheet and send an email and even write content. It's killing the value of generic work, wiping out this bizarre system we live in of copy-pasting emails and moving data from one Excel tab to another while we pretend it means something. Just like the Black Death made human labor expensive, the AI flood will make unsimulated humanity the ultimate luxury good. Right now, we're all worried that AI will replace us, but within the next few years, there will be inevitably a grand realization that AI can only replace the drudgery. We'll be left with the work that actually requires a soul and some real critical thinking. It's going to be a movement from an economy of quantity to an economy of quality, where we shift our focus to doing the things that the machine cannot. The thing here is, AI can't try hard or risk failure. Only a human can do those things. There's another interesting direction we can go here with AI. In my last video, I talked about the fact that truth in the Middle Ages for most people didn't come from books. It came from some guy at the local tavern passing along a rumor that he also heard from some guy at the local tavern. We like to think that when the printing press came along and people had more access to knowledge, all of this instantly cleared up. Wrong. It actually kicked off an information explosion. It created chaos and wars and confusion. There were a lot of growing pains associated.
Yeah, which is why you need to become a subject matter expert so you are able to discuss your ideas, your perspective, and that is something that AI can't replace. Okay, you have unique experiences in your life that you can bring out to the front to bring real lessons to civilization. In essence, the hero's journey is about going through tough times to learn the lessons and bring back the gold to the village, and the gold being the lessons and insights and technological advancements or advancements in thinking, blind spots and gaps to not current knowledge and thinking, which you can only achieve if you look into your zone of genius, which is what you need to bring to the next generation, or we might all be doomed.
With the fact that suddenly anybody could write up a tract, print a bunch of pamphlets, and distribute it as truth. However, and this is the important part, the printing press eventually led to the scientific revolution and the Enlightenment. In her book, The Printing Press as an Agent of Change, the historian Elizabeth Eisenstein argued that the press didn't just spread knowledge, it actually forced people to develop new methods to separate truth from fiction. Maybe you can see where I'm going with this. That's right, folks. AI is our printing press, this massive step forward that's changing everything so quickly that we can barely keep up. So far, this has been chaos, and probably will be for at least the next few years, with deep fakes and the genuinely scary stuff that Sora is capable of making. But at some point, there has to be a stabilization, which we could very well see in the 2030s. New institutions of trust will by necessity have to be established so we can navigate the information flood, which could theoretically lead to a new explosion of genuine scientific discovery.
But that is if the decision makers can be trusted. That it can only be possible if the elites, if the people at the top actually have good intentions. It is my thinking that they do not have our best interest, that they want to keep us normal people in lower class positions, that they want to squeeze every resource out of us so that they can, in essence, cause a civil war, and they will escape to their bunkers. I mean, Elon Musk wants to escape to Mars, and he has a lot of fanboys, Elon Musk, but he's not going to take everybody to Mars, is he? He's only going to take himself and his few friends that he's got, and a bunch of women that he can impregnate, right? So the elites don't have your best interests. The elites don't want you to win. The system is rigged, and these new technologies will cause you and us and all of civilization to lose. Now, I don't want that. What I want is to escape the current system, to get away from it all, to start my own system so I can be the person in charge of it. Why do I want that? Because I'm the only person that I fully trust to make the right decisions for humanity. Okay, do you trust anyone 100%? Right? Do you trust anybody else to make the right decisions on behalf of your life? No, only you can. And if you trust that you are a good person and that you have the best intentions for people across the globe, then why shouldn't you be the person in charge? Okay, right? If you don't trust anyone else, if you've lost faith in the current system, which most people have, then you need to do something about it. This is your moment where you can do something about it. And what you should do is you should become king and become a thought leader where people look up to you and start a new civilization where you run the world how you see fit. And then you will fight alongside me and we will take over the globe and people will be safe and we will do our best to bring glory and prosper to everyone.
There are clearly a lot of beneficial use cases for AI, especially when it comes to disease research and detection, but maybe we don't need to use it to put Charlie Kirk on Young Thug's album cover. One more thing about AI and then we can move on. Before we do that, just a quick plug.
Okay, so what we got here? Hidden Channel 390, welcome Hidden Channel. How are you doing? I know you've messaged before as well, so I recognize you. It's good to see you back. Hope you're doing well. Well, won't AI become so advanced not even billionaires can contain it? Yeah, that is the problem, right? Like at some stage right now it's being AI is being taught where it can program itself. And then there will become a point where it becomes so advanced that it can program itself where it doesn't need any more human input. But the elites and the billionaires want that to happen because they want someone more intelligent than themselves, which what they believe AI will become, more intelligent than us humans. They want someone else to tell them what to do. But because the people working at AI at the moment, like Sam Altman, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, because they're the ones programming it, they're hoping that they can gain some favor with AI. So AI will be treated like some sort of god in the near future by humans because it will be much smarter than most humans, and it will be the ultimate decision maker on Earth. That is not a world that I want to live under. I want to live under a world that I have total control over, where I have freedom to do whatever I want. I do not want to be under the rule of AI or of these billionaires who I don't trust, which is why I am starting my own civilization and starting my own kingdom. And Hidden Channel 3902, I hope that you are also a king in waiting, that you want to start a kingdom. Tell me where you're from. Tell me what you are all about, what it is that you find interesting in this world. What is it that you find interesting about this channel? And are you someone that can also become a future king, build a kingdom alongside me, and fight that good fight against evil across the globe? But now we will jump into this other video about falling birth rates.
Anna. So I recently watched this film, Capernaum, and it really got to me because it depicted the struggles of this refugee child who was suing his parents for giving birth to him. Philosophers call this antinatalism, the belief that parents giving birth to a child that they know they cannot provide for is fundamentally unethical.
And just antinatalism is like you weren't asked to be born into your current predicament. Whatever problems you have in life, whatever the problems are in the world, whatever the system that you find yourselves in, you weren't asked to be born into the system. Okay, right? If I had a choice, I would have been born right at the top of the system where I had full control over it, right? So I can be the decision maker, right? But I'm someone who worked my whole life. I'm somebody who went to university. I followed society's script. I'm somebody who got a corporate job, tried to climb the corporate ladder, and along the way I just knew that I'm not in full control of my own life. I'm not in full control of my own destiny. Somebody is telling me to be at my desk at this time. Somebody's telling me, oh, I can only take lunch at this time. And I was just like, that is not just how I want to live. I want to live life fully in control of my own destiny, of my own decisions. So I searched for freedom. And what my conclusion is that the system is rigged. I wasn't asked to be born into a system where you have to pay tax on your labor, okay? Where 4 or 5 months of the year you're essentially working for free just to give that money to the government, who will waste it anyway, right? So my conclusion was that I'm like, fuck this, I've had enough. and I'm taking control of my own life. I'm taking control of my own destiny, and I'm becoming a king with my own kingdom, with my own laws that I want to rule society with. And my pledge is to be a good king, to be a benevolent king, to be a philosopher king. So the people who are under my rule are good people. And I don't want to be the only king. I believe everybody that I work with, all my friends should be kings as well. And I want you to have your own kingdom where you get to decide your destiny.
Ethical. You know, this sentiment is actually very prevalent in rural areas where women keep having children despite having no income, no opportunities, nothing. But if you look at wealthy cities like Mumbai and Bangalore, the exact opposite is happening. Birth rates are dropping.
Yeah, the reason for that is because if you live in a rural town, the currency is human labor, right? So that if you and your family can have many children, then you have many potential people within your family to work. Okay, they will work the farm, they will sow the field and harvest the crop every year. So you need multiple hands, and because it is for your family, you don't have to really pay them because you pay them via food, which is how most of society has worked all throughout history since we became an agricultural race. Okay. The problem is why people in urban areas have less children is because, first of all, there's less space, and second of all, there's a cost of living in a urban area, right? You have to pay for schooling, you have to pay for medical assistance, you have to pay for, you have to pay tax, you have to pay rent, you have to pay property, you have to buy a property. So you have all these different costs that come up, which contribute into being allowed to live in an urban area. And then, things then that should be just given to you at a normal price. If you want slightly better service, you have to pay a premium for that, right? So then, which is you end up in a situation where everybody's trying to get the best service, but it costs money. So people end up chasing money, which is basically why capitalism exists, right? Because you're trying to pay your way to a better life.
Significantly. So yeah, it's not just you. No one wants to have children anymore. Since the dawn of man,
it's just too expensive, which is why you see falling birth rates. It's too expensive to start families, and because the dating market skewed, because men have figured out that the current dating setup isn't working for the average man. They're not taking part at all, or they're figuring out that it's they're not able to take part because they are just not making enough money. They don't have the resources to attract a mate, which is why I advocate for you to leave the current system, so you play your own game, and then you are a king. Because when you're a king, many women will line up to take the spot next to you to become your queen, and then you don't have these dating problems anymore, right? So you solve your dating life, you solve your money problems, because as a king, you'll be able to collect taxes for yourself. So then you have your money sorted, your dating life sorted. You'll be friends with other kings here with us as the Amichis. What else would you want in life at that point? Okay, you have freedom, you will have everything that you have desired. All your dreams will come true.
Reproduction has been our most profound purpose. The one thing every species is hardwired to do. But now, all of a sudden, humans are losing interest in creating life. It's no longer a priority, and we're observing this all over the world, which actually raises some pretty massive questions. Why are more and more young people saying no to parenthood?
There's an urge. I really do want to have kids, but I don't know if I'll be able to.
What happens to a country when
because it's just too expensive. That's why everyone wants to, but the reality is just not able to.
Entire generation decides not to reproduce? I might think the answer is simple. Is the economy stupid? Nobody can afford kids anymore? But there's a lot more to it, and some of it will probably make you uncomfortable. See, you might be young now, but sometime very soon, you're gonna arrive at this crossroad to be or not to be a parent. And this is not like choosing a career or buying a house. this decision is permanent and will define the rest of your life. So I think it's important that you make this choice with your eyes wide open, with all the information, so that you don't succumb to your parents' expectations or the pressures of society. Which is why I have dug deep into this. I want to break down what the real... But for this, we need to go all the way to Japan. Not the densely populated city of Tokyo. Rather, we'll visit a small village called Ichinono. You know, there are fewer than 60 residents keeping this little village lively. But when you walk around the village, you might feel like it's a lot more populated. And that's because the residents there have put up life-size human-like puppets all over the place. There are more puppets here than people. The villagers did this to...
Yeah, that's kind of creepy, man. I'm not gonna lie. Imagine walking around, there's just fucking puppets staring at you. But that is the reality you're facing. However, soon most people won't have the need to put up puppets around the town. I mean, it's said that that village has 60 people living there. I assume most of them are quite old, elderly people who haven't moved to town to get corporate jobs. The elderly people still doing sort of farming. Most young people will be plugged into the metaverse, into the internet, so then they'll get their fix of seeing people online. I mean, you already get people spending the majority of their time on games like Grand Theft Auto or Fortnite, where they're running around with other people, so they get to see these avatars online, and that is how they make their friends. That is how they get their social interaction, basically. It's a dark place that we're moving towards, and that is not the future that I want. The future that I want is that I want to be able to live life on my own terms, buy my own private island where we get to live, where we get to be the decision makers, start new companies alongside each other, join the Amici, become a king, start your own kingdom, and live a life that you are truly proud of. A life that you truly want to live on your own terms, not under the control of the elites. But that is it for today. Thank you very much, and good